It's Mundy on Monday, where I am long on thoughts but short on time. To Kill a Mockingbird, published in 1960, an instant classic in print and then in film and even adapted for the stage. I saw a wonderful production as a kid, though all I can remember now, sadly, is hearing a loud metal clank when the actor playing Jim, or was it Scout, dropped the supposed wooden dolls on the stage. Oops. But now, for the first time, on Broadway. Directed by Bartlett Sher, starring Jeff Daniels, and with an entirely new adaptation by Aaron Sorkin. This production is framed by three narrators, Jem, Scout, and Dill, reporting to the audience and also jumping into their memories as their story to us unfolds or gets away from them. The sets are minimal, teak-stained, and wheeled in and out with no pretense. All with a guitarist and organist framing the stage with Adam Gettle underscoring. Anyway, I've grown up with this story, as I'd argue most of us have. We know this story, even if we don't. That said, having experienced To Kill a Mockingbird repeatedly growing up, on the page, stage, in the classroom, on film, and most recently on Broadway, I just wanted to talk about the impact the retelling of the story itself all these years has had on me, with a very narrow focus: the importance of capturing our imaginations. As I see it, To Kill a Mockingbird is today, if not just quintessential Southern Gothic by its surface narrative, setting, and style, then also by every theme running through it, both explicit and implicit, a singularly American story. Also, it's impossible to unwind its influence on today's most successful type of programming: the procedural. Now, Harper Lee didn't introduce this genre by any stretch, but her satire, savvy, and wit and subject matter pervade most every episode of Law & Order, books and films like A Time to Kill, and is pretty much the modern thrust for justice as we tell it in our movies and on TV. It's weaved deeply into our culture and pop culture. From this setup, I go, hang on, this'll be quick. We can never fully understand our heart's potential for the good we imagine without being honest about our potential for the evil, the destructive of equal measure. And one of the powers of narrative, beyond just teaching us of the past, for nothing makes sense without a story, is its ability to capture our imaginations, as well as hopefully encourage us in the daily practice of this capturing of our imaginations, in order to make us see what narratives, what stories we are repeating to ourselves every day. And in this repetition, convicting us to whether we are slowly conditioning our hearts to feed on that destructiveness or that good we possess. As we know, we are what we eat. There are times, maybe even every day, when we are tempted to stop allowing our imaginations to be captured, to look around at others and say silently, well, I've got it. In that moment, when we think we're done, we drop, lose our sense of wonder, concluding that wonder is for the naive. We have separated ourselves from our true nature. We then rejoice like Jekyll, sitting on the bench, watching other people walk by. And then I smiled, comparing myself with other men, comparing my active goodwill with the lazy cruelty of their neglect. At that moment, he looked down and saw a huge hairy claw where his gentle hand had just been. He became Hyde without taking the potion. He separated himself from the seeming naivete of others. In fact, he had stopped allowing his imagination to be captured, and so it finally captured him. He scoffed, and what his imagination had been feeding on up to that point was, well, worse than no day at the beach. Oh, David. Wow, can I borrow a segue? Bang, bang. So what does all this mean to the story? What Lee has to say in To Kill a Mockingbird is what, as a Southerner, we term ugly. And to tell a story this ugly, it cries out for wit, humor, and hope. Hope for a justice and a beauty beyond our own abilities. Lee digs deeper than we are comfortable, not allowing us to sometimes even rely on our own understanding of even one of the greatest pillars of good in modern storytelling, Atticus Finch, even as she tells a story with such horrific threads and moral abhorrency. She will not let us feel satisfied as she constantly and actively captures our imagination. It seems as though she understands that if she does not do that, if she allows the wit to sanitize the dark atrocities in the story and the humor to point away from ourselves and scoff, we are then in danger. And even more so today, because now this story is so well known. It's easy to sense the familiarity immediately, to look back at this story, look around at others, and say silently, well, I've got it. Because in that moment, we might look down and see a huge hairy claw where a gentle hand had just been. What captures my imagination on a daily basis? What stories am I retelling myself? Well, I'll start with this one. Mockingbirds don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. And that's my Mundy. Now back to yours. About that David Hasselhoff poster? I own one myself. That's right. This is No Day at the Beach. And it's perfect.